Hey, do you guys lose your sunglasses all the time or break them? I know I do. And do you still want to look good with wearing by protecting your eyes? I know I do. Well, Blenders is a solution for you. Unlike expensive big brand shades that you've probably lost or smashed in the past, Blenders are actually affordable, so you're not going to cry just as much when the inevitable happens. Yeah, listen, I love Blenders because you know what? They understand the reality. Shit happens, but you don't have to stop looking good and you don't have to ruin your day when it does happen. So get your stylish sunglasses, get your prescription glasses, get your blue light reading glasses, whatever your glasses needs are, Blenders has them. So, hey, the coolest guys in the world who wear sunglasses, they know how to surf. And you might not know how to surf, but you can look as cool as a surfer does by wearing Blenders sunglasses, all while saving a lot of money and looking good. So go to blenderseyewear.com, code VIALLVIP. That's blenderseyewear.com, code VIALLVIP for 15% off. Blenders, rocked with pride worldwide. Yeah. Hey, guys. Yeah, this is the Viall Files. I was just fucking with you. Welcome to another episode of the Viall Files. I know I decided to mix it up there. I'm Nick. My name is Nick. I give relationship advice, and we do a bunch of fun stuff on the show. Chrissy is my producer. Hi, Chrissy. How are you?
Well, confused now after that opening. Freaks me out when we go.
Yeah, don't turn us off. This is an Ask Nick episode.
Yes.
We also have Allie and Amanda in studio with us. That's it. There's just two strangers. We don't really know if we're just people. If I hope you've been enjoying our Instagram and content because these ladies are a big reason why. So give them a follow. Go check it out. Allie's really mad because now that she's been putting a bunch of great content on the Instagram, and then when like E! News reposts the same thing or Betches.com, Allie's pretty sure that they're stealing it from us. I don't know. So
because we're funny.
It starts here first, people.
We're the trendsetters.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're doing great things. Anyway, we have a great episode for you. Also on Wednesday, we have a fantastic episode about cults. Ooh, that's right. Cults, you say? Are you fascinated by cults? So am I. If you ever watched the show The Vow, the documentary about the sex cult NXIVM, we have two of its former members, Sarah and Nippy, her husband, who were on the documentary, who were part of NXIVM, who were branded on their. Sarah was branded next to her.
Yeah. Her girl parts.
Vagina. Felt weird to say. They're with us on Wednesday to talk about cults, what it's like to be in a cult, how to avoid being a cult, and just that whole thing. It was wild talking to them. It was. So Be sure to check that out on Wednesday. And I think we've talked enough. We can't thank you enough for posting in your Instagram stories and on TikToks. Honestly, I think we need to create some like podcast drama on our show so that people will TikTok about us and give them some conspiracy. Can we start a conspiracy theory about you, Chrissy?
Oh, sure. What do you want it to be?
And just get all these like TikToks conspiracy theories. Be like, I think Chrissy blah, blah, blah or something. I don't know.
Like is half bison.
Your words, not mine.
Well, I'm trying to think of something Montana-y.
Let's create some
drama.
Got
bison here. I could be half bison.
Yeah, thank you guys for supporting our show. Someone told me we're the 58th best podcast in the world, which I didn't know. By Chartable. I don't know. Good for us. That's because of you guys for supporting us. Should we get to the questions? Great.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy question.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name's Erica. I'm 29.
Hi, Erica. How can I help?
So I have this really weird dynamic with my high school friend and her boyfriend. I'll try to make this short. I became friends with him pretty recently, around August. Really through her encouragement. We're friends of the same sports team, and she encouraged us to watch games together. So we became friends. And then around September, this pretty uncomfortable dynamic started developing. They've been dating for like 8 years, and they're just in the past year, like pretty unhappy in their relationship. And I felt like I'd become this kind of like escape, if you will, or middleman. And I really just did not like that dynamic at all. So I decided at the time that I was just going to take some space from the both of them. Just told them I was busy, didn't hang out with them, just kind of did my own thing.
One question I have. You referred to her as your high school friend, and then you also mentioned that she's been dating him for 8 years. Have you been friends with her since high school, or you just recently reconnected with her?
So I've been friends with her since high school, but I am very recently like reconnecting with her. We moved back to the same city, and in the past couple of years, I've been reconnecting with her. Gotcha.
But you haven't. Yeah. But you clearly haven't been that close, because otherwise you probably would have known this guy for a while, because she's been dating him for 8 years, right?
Yeah. There was definitely a gap in college when they were dating and post-college before we spent some time in the same city.
Cool.
Yeah, that's probably very relevant, so I appreciate that. So I took some time from just some space from both of them. And then during that time, he continued to text me like at least once a week to get together. I didn't really think anything of that, because it's usually just around sports and all of that. But then, so that was September, and then fast forward to December, it had been a while, and there was a big game on, and he asked if I wanted to watch it at a bar, and frankly, I did. So I said yes, and went to the bar. I had a couple beers, and he got absolutely just hammered to the point where I had to like put him in a car and get him back to his apartment. And so then in the car ride, he got like a little touchy. And to be honest, like I felt there was just like some natural chemistry there. And I kind of in that moment like accepted what my other friends had been telling me, that it was possible he might have a crush on me. And I kind of have to be clear too, like for the record, it freaked me out, because I knew and I felt that there was just like natural chemistry there, that maybe it went both ways, and that freaked me out to like the nth degree.
Yeah. He got touchy, but you didn't necessarily hate it, whether you felt guilty or not.
Correct. That's kind of what I meant by like natural chemistry. But it
wasn't like you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're like, fuck, you didn't want to like it, but you did.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely. And that freaked me out, like really freaked me out sufficiently, because for the record, I would never act on anything like that. And my friendship with my high school friend, who I'd been like reconnecting with, is my first priority and always will be.
Okay.
So after that, I knew I couldn't really hang out with him one-on-one anymore. Didn't want to hang out with them as a couple, obviously, because that was an uncomfortable dynamic. So I really just kind of wanted it all to stop and just to be friends with my friend from high school, and that's it. So basically since then, I've been ignoring all of his texts. He's still consistently been texting me on a regular basis, whether it's to hang out or just random nonsense texts.
Did you ever address with him that moment?
No.
Okay.
Never. That's actually part of my question, because I mean, since then I've been able to hang out with her one-on-one and get dinner just one-on-one and kind of ignore the rest of it. But my original question was going to be like, how do I handle this? Do I have a conversation with him? Do I have a conversation with her? Like with both of them, what does that look like? But also, to be honest, like I am having no problem just not being friends with him and not being friends with them as a couple and just hanging out with my friend. And it would be easy if he would just stop texting me, to be totally frank. So I think that my like original question of how do I handle this is still there, but also it's kind of evolved into just how do I get him to stop doing that.
Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah.
There is no, from what I'm hearing, sometimes there's no clear like, oh, no big deal, just do this, everything will be fine. Like this is a sticky situation, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get resolved without some level of discomfort and some level of upsetting someone and then having to work through it and get over it, right?
Absolutely.
Because I don't see how that's possible, right?
Yeah.
But right now you're not doing anything, and that's not an option either. Hoping this will all go away clearly hasn't worked either.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I've been trying to avoid like putting my big girl pants on and like having a conversation and
I don't I'm thinking out loud here to myself, like, what would be better? Do you tell, like, you know, it's good that you know who the priority is, right? Because at first I didn't know what direction this was going, and I was like, hey, I don't know, like, you know, is it great? I understand you could feel like maybe the relationship started under like kind of questionable situation, and I'm not an advocate for cheating, but like, hey, if you told me, it's like, listen, I love the guy and I didn't want this, but like we have feelings, I would say, all right, well, you need to do it the right way, and that might mean losing a friend, you know, and that's a possibility, but it seems like you understand that your priority is your friend. So that's great that you know where your priorities lie, because that's step one. Because some people don't even know that much. They're just like, I don't know. She's kind of cool, but I really like him. So like, you know where your priorities lie. I think that's great. And I think you should be happy that you know that, because you could be really confused if you don't. Because that would be, if you didn't know, I'd be like, you need to figure that out first.
Yeah.
So since you do know, you know, like you haven't addressed it to him. So like if he was super drunk, does he remember doing that? Do you know if he does or not? Is it possible he might not even remember?
Yeah, that was actually a question I was thinking about yesterday. I hadn't considered it until then, where I was like, I honestly don't know if he even remembers that.
Yeah, because like in one scenario, you could go to him and say, hey, listen, Eric, whatever, you know, his name is.
Mike. We'll call him Mike.
Yeah, we'll call him Mike. His name's not Mike, right?
No, his name's not Mike.
Okay. Anyway, so you're just like, hey, I know I've been avoiding you. Here's why. No hard feelings, but I just, you know, but to do that, you almost have to acknowledge to him that like, he's not crazy, and I'm not accusing you of like, I mean, yeah, you might be a shitty boyfriend, but that's between you and your girlfriend, but like, you're not crazy because like, yeah, I feel it too, but at the same time, my priority is with our mutual friend, and I just don't think we can continue this friendship because of this unspoken connection, right? And then depending, I don't know how we would handle that. Maybe he could get defensive. I don't know. But if you do say that to him, it's
putting it out there.
It's putting it out there. It's acknowledging it. And then how do you say that to him without not saying it to her? And I don't know who this friend is, but it's going to take a super mature friend to be like, thanks for telling me, you know, let's just pick up from where let's dinner tomorrow. You know, like it's a big ask, you know, it's a big ask because you're a threat in a way. And then she's got to deal with a lot of shit here. Shavings make a pile. That's right. You know what we're talking about. Our friends at Noom are helping you create some healthy eating habits so that you can meet your wellness goals, whatever those wellness goals might be. It might be lose weight, gain muscle mass, maybe just lower your sugar intake so you feel better on the inside. Maybe it's your gut digestive health. A lot of ways to be healthy, and Noom, whatever that goal is, can help you get there. Eating better and feeling better, understanding cravings, knowing how to shop, knowing that no food is necessarily bad, but it's how you eat it, when you eat it. Having more energy, enjoying exercise again, fitting better in clothes, how you feel about, you know, the psychology of food. Knowledge is power. With Noom, you pick the health goals that are right for you. Noom personalizes how you can meet your wellness goals, and they help your aspirations become a reality. What a win. Based in psychology, Noom teaches you how to eat so you can accomplish your personal health goals and stick with them long term, because you don't need rules to meet those goals. You need knowledge. That's right. There's a science to getting healthier. It's called Noom. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/VIALL. Learn how to eat again with Noom. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/VIALL. Ready to learn how to live healthier? Sign up for Noom today at Noom.com/VIALL. In a tiny apartment in Southern California, two college dropouts teamed up to create a watch company that broke all the rules. And we love rule breakers. That's right. So get Movement watches today, because you can get $400 to $500 quality watches for a fraction of the price that are built to last, and they're beautiful, they're stylish. They're my go-to watch, your everyday go-to watch. They look great. I get compliments all the time on my Movement watches. Whether you want to dress up or dress down, Movement has a watch for you. Unbeatable price point. People are going to think you're like a watch collector, but just by stocking up on all your Movement watches that are available for you now. If you want to elevate your look with style that doesn't break the bank, then Movement has the watches for you. Join the Movement and get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmt.com/VIALL. Again, that's mvmt.com/VIALL.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if their relationship is already on the rocks, which it is, like it's just even less of a chance for her to be able to receive that in a good way. And you basically outlined why I've, like you said, just kind of let it be and done nothing but ignore and hope it goes away.
I'm thinking out loud here. I don't think it's important information as far as they are concerned, either of them, to know that you felt a little something too.
You don't think it's important for them to know that?
I really don't. Like,
okay, that's great to hear.
That's where you're like, you felt it. We have feelings, I've said this before, like, there's hot people in the world. We can't help how we like, oh, wow, that's love to see them naked. Like, I don't know, but you don't, right? You stop short of indulging all these thoughts and feelings we have as humans, whether we have a dream or we see it. Like, that's how you felt. Fine. But you didn't do anything about it. You didn't go there. You felt something. It fucked you up a little bit, but you did the right thing by cutting him off, right? So, like, do they really need to know what what your subconscious felt or what you felt in the moment? I don't think so, because you don't want to do anything about it. Yeah. So I don't think they need to know, because what are they going to do with that information? It's just going to fuck everything up, right?
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely.
If you address it with him, no, it's like, because you're like, I'm guessing you feel like this almost like you don't want to. You guys, you can. And I'm not saying shame him, but like either way, regardless if you liked it or not, he had a girlfriend, and as a boyfriend in a committed relationship, that was fucked up. Doesn't matter whether you liked it or not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, yeah, maybe he's not a creep who's like making moves on women who don't want it to make moves. Like, if you two were single, then like, yeah, he was picking up on the vibes that you were giving him. But regardless, he's in a committed relationship, right? So that was the fucked up part, right? We're not. Yeah. This is not about like, why are you making like why are you trying to kiss me? Right. Like, why he tried to kiss you, because that. But so he's still guilty of the crime of being an unfaithful boyfriend.
Yeah. I also want to say, for the record, there was no kissing involved here.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, whatever it was,
okay.
whatever that thing that happened that made you feel like, okay, we've crossed a line.
Right.
Like, so you could still bring that up by saying, listen, we're cool in the sense that, like, you didn't make me feel uncomfortable and I didn't feel unsafe, but like, you have a girlfriend, and knowing that happened, we can't be friends anymore. And, or like, I don't feel comfortable hanging out with you alone. I don't know how much you trust this guy. There's a risk by not telling your friend, because if he goes and tells her.
Yeah, that's been my fear when I was kind of trying to play out each scenario of, this felt like easiest addressed just to him. But if my friend found out that I had a conversation about this or about something with him almost behind her back, like, that's the end of it right there too. It's
a tough situation. I guess here's what I think you should do. And I don't know if it's going to work out. It really just depends.
Okay.
But I think you just tell both of them. If your friend is the priority, then you're going to have to tell her. You just do. She needs to hear it from you, right? Because it's going to affect how much she trusts you if she hears it from anyone else but you.
Yeah.
She needs to hear it from you. I think it would be fair to him, and I'm not saying he deserves it, because he ultimately is the one who did something he shouldn't do. But if you wanted to be super fair to everyone, I would let him know that you're going to tell her.
Yeah, I would have no problem doing that. I don't feel like I'm in the business of blindsiding anybody. And what telling him wouldn't affect if I told her or not. It would just be a simple, I'm giving you a heads up and this is what I'm doing. To ask you a question again, I mean, my concern about that is they're already on the rocks, and I feel like that's me inserting myself in their relationship as like the final straw, basically, as essentially the reason they're breaking up, which I know is obviously not the reason. Let's say that they did break up after that, which I don't see how they wouldn't, but let's say that they did. The narrative of that is that I'm the reason that they broke up.
Not much you can do
about
that.
I guess it's my ego. Yeah, there's not much I could do about that, huh?
I mean, you don't, it's like this will be a telling situation on the strength of both of these relationships you have, particularly this friendship. It will hurt her. It will sting. Her ego will be affected. But what you're telling me makes sense, and I'm assuming it makes sense to everyone listening, right? And hopefully she can understand that, right? Because you really try to do the right thing here. Again, I just don't think you need to like mention, like, by the way, like if you weren't dating, I totally would have had sex with them, but you weren't. Like, she doesn't need to know that, and because it really doesn't matter. If he felt something from you, he had the girlfriend. He shouldn't have done anything about it. Right. Case closed, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think you definitely should tell her if she's your priority, for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she's going to handle it, but like, if she loses her shit and gets mad at you, then, I don't know. Like, that's not someone. How do you be friends with that person? You're going to have to get every relationship, friendship, romantic is going to get through some like tough situations and some discomfort and misunderstandings and miscommunications and some ego driven events and things like that. But it sounds like you did the right thing and you're in a tough, awkward situation. And the hope is she's going to get mad. She'll probably break up with them, and maybe she should. I mean, it sounds like she should. Like, this is, if they've been together for 8 years and they're having all these hard situations, the number one reason why they're together right now is because they've been together for so long and they're just afraid to let go. And in those situations, and I've been there, you need a catalyst. You need something that makes you go, I'm done. Because it's so hard to let those situations go. And like you said, you're just kind of annoyed that like you don't want to be that thing, but there's not much you can do.
Yeah, I understand. I appreciate it. Yeah, that as much as that was not the advice I was hoping you would say, because it means I have a hard conversation or two to have. That makes sense. It's just something that I need to do and accept the outcome of. And
now that I've thought this through, telling him is an option that could be, but like telling her is a priority. Because if she's the priority for you to keep this relationship, then you want to make sure that you keep the trust in this relationship, and she needs to hear it from you, because hearing from someone else just feels, it's hard to be like, well, you should have told me. If I heard it, I would have a hard time trusting someone. If I heard I would need to hear it from you. Yeah.
So it's hearing essentially like, hey, your boyfriend got kind of handsy with me, or is it, hey, I don't want to hang out with your boyfriend anymore one-on-one. I think it goes something like this.
Hey, something I gotta tell you. I've been struggling with this because I just feel like in a tough situation, and I love you and you're my priority. You say that first. You always let them know, like, you're my priority. Yeah. This is what happened. I was hanging out with Mike. He got super drunk. He got a little handsy. Nothing happened, but like, I feel uncomfortable. I don't even know if he remembers this. I've been avoiding hanging out with him, but like, I don't, but I just had to tell you because it's just hanging over my head, and I thought you should know. And And if you decide not to tell him, I think you let her know, like, I haven't even talked to him about it. For all I know, he doesn't remember. And I didn't know what to say because it just, I don't know, but it's been eating me up and I want you to know. And again, he was super fucked up. Yeah. Maybe he didn't realize, but either way, I don't want you to wonder why I'm ignoring him, because I am,
right? Because
I didn't know what to say, but you should know. There's a good chance she's gonna get mad at you.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I can handle that.
Good.
And you're right. Like at the end of the day, either the friendship's gonna make it or it's not. And her being mad at me at the beginning doesn't also mean that she'll forever stay mad at me. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the more you say that, the more I objectively think that you're very right, that I just need to go to her.
Lead with saying, you are like, my friendship with you matters so much to me. This is a huge priority in my life. Say that first. I understand if you're mad. I want you to hear it from me. Say those things and reinforce that, right? So she hears that, so that when she does get mad at you, like, she's still hearing from someone who's making her a priority and in trust with you as a priority, so that and
yeah,
I don't know, maybe just go to her, because as much as trying to make everyone happy, he did fuck up, right? So like, if you tell him and then her,
if my priority is my friendship, then I just need to be a good friend and let her know.
Yeah.
I guess the reality is, like, if my friend had told me that, like, her friend's boyfriend had gotten touchy with her, I would have immediately said, like, you need to go tell your friend. So I guess
fuck it. I think you just tell her first.
Yeah. All right.
Alcohol or not, he still did something wrong, and it sucks, and you don't want to throw him under the bus, and maybe he would feel really bad, but either way, he shouldn't have done it, and you're not trying to punish him, but you're in the middle of something, and you need to do the right thing. It sucks.
All right.
So
well,
I'm glad we figured this out. At least we have a plan. It's still
I appreciate it.
It's a tough situation, but I think there is light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, and I do think it's important that you say those things to her when you tell her that she is a priority, that you wanted to hear it from her. You've been struggling with this. Mm-hmm. If she's like, well, why didn't you tell me right away? Just be like, I thought maybe he was just drunk and he would forget about it. But the more I thought about it, I felt uncomfortable. And part of it is because he keeps reaching out and I've been ignoring him. And I think that will make her feel good in a sense, because that shows that you were loyal to her and you just didn't know what to do. And maybe you said, you're right, I should have told you right away, but I felt like I was stuck in a very awkward position.
Yeah, I was going to say also the reality is that I was not in a very comfortable position with it. And maybe I should have said something earlier, but at least I'm saying something now.
The only part you're leaving out, which kind of sucks, is like, I felt guilt because I wanted to bone him too. But she doesn't need to know that.
Yeah, the whole truth isn't always something that we need to share.
Yeah. I think that's okay.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Well, I appreciate it.
Godspeed.
Thank you.
I'm really curious how this works out, if you want to let us know.
I'll email you. I'll let you know how it works out.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you both.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Chrissy, your hair is looking lush and wonderful, even from this high-definition screen. What could you possibly be using? Is that Function of Beauty I'm seeing glowing through the screen?
Obviously. You know how much I love it.
Listen, just like Mr. Rogers says, we're all made differently and unique, so why are we all using the same shampoo that you buy off the shelf at grocery stores? No, and honestly, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, our hair is really important for anyone who cares about how they look, and we want nice looking hair. We want it luscious, we want it feeling good, and our hair is different, has different needs. Get the shampoo and conditioner that's right for you. First, take a quick but thorough quiz to tell you a little bit about your hair type, and your hair goals such as length, volume, and oil control. And because your hair changes with the season, you can change your hair goals before every shipment. Wow, what great customer service. Every ingredient Functional Beauty uses is vegan and cruelty-free, and they never use sulfates or parabens, because that stuff's nasty. You can also go completely silicone-free. There's over 50 trillion possible formulas. That's nuts. Literally every human on the globe can have their own formula.
Yeah.
That's wild. And Functional Beauty offers completely personalized formulas for body and skincare as well. So you can customize your beauty routine from head to toe. Never buy off the shelf just to be disappointed ever again. Go to functionalbeauty.com/VIALL and take your quiz and save 20% off your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products. Go to functionalbeauty.com and let them know we sent you to get 20% off your order. functionalbeauty.com/VIALL. Fucking love stories. Stories are the best, and I love stories about my parents and my grandparents. Story is an online service that helps your loved ones share stories through thought-provoking questions about their memories and personal thoughts. It's a fun way to engage with family members, especially those you can't see in person. You know, like that grandma or great uncle or the aunt or uncle or your parents, they have a lot of great stories, and sometimes you just need to ask the right questions to prompt stories about your history, your family. Get to know your parents and your grandparents through Storyworth. Every week, Storyworth emails your family members different story prompts, questions you've never thought to ask, like, has your life turned out differently the way you imagine it? Storyworth has helped numerous of families learn about each other in profound, special ways, and their testimonials will practically move you to tears. There's no shortage of surprises when reading those weekly stories. So get to know your loved ones better and give a great gift at the same time. Give your loved ones the gift of spending time together with wherever you live with Storyworth. Get started right away with no shipping required by going to storyworth.com/VIALL. You'll get $10 off your first purchase. Storyworth.com/VIALL for $10 off. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Peyton. I'm 24.
Hi, Peyton. How can I help?
So I sent in an email a couple weeks ago to Chrissy. I've been kind of hesitant. I wanted to, and then I thought about it, and then I didn't, and then so I did. And it's kind of all around, like, waiting around sex. Like, I took a break. When I was, it was about 5 years ago, it was, the legal age of drinking here is 18. So it was, I went hard. And, you realize you're legal and you can do whatever. So I realized it was just too much for me, and I was having a lot of one-night stands, and I couldn't do it if I was sober, because for me, I guess I'm a lot like Tanya Rad in the way that she knew that she couldn't be do unattached sex. So that's kind of why I stopped. And then on top of that, like, not drinking. So now I've been 5 years sober, and I'm kind of ready to start, like, dating again. But I'm just not sure. Like, I want a guy's perspective on if I should tell the guy that that's what I've been waiting, and I'm kind of waiting for the right person to come along.
Are you trying to get engaged or married before you have sex again? No.
No.
Okay.
No.
So
just like
normal committed relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you need to, like, have a disclaimer in your dating profile or on the first date. Be like, oh, there's something I need to tell you. Like, listen, you went hard to the paint when you were 18. You drank, and it sounds like just a little excessive to the point where you felt like you were putting yourself in potentially toxic and vulnerable situations, and you had the maturity to say, you know what? This isn't a path to success. I want to slow down. You decided to stop drinking, Yeah. Great. You don't drink anymore. Okay. There's a lot of people who don't drink. None of this is, like, abnormal. I guess, good for you for doing this. And so there's a lot of people who are 24 who might still be virgins or might have always, like, maybe they've slept with one or two. Maybe the only person they have slept with is their serious boyfriend or girlfriend that they started dating at 17, 18, or 19, and then they dated for a couple years, and then they broke up, and they've been pretty much single, right? So, like, there's a lot of people in your position, right, who are 24, young, want to get back out and dating. You took an active break from sex. I think that was really healthy and good for you, right? because you just felt like you almost had to like press the reset button. So now that you go back out and dating, I don't think you need to look at yourself or have other people look at you like there's something wrong with you or you're abnormal. Like you're very normal. To me it sounds like, right? And even if you wanted to wait, and even if you wanted to wait till like you have sex before married, it's very much still be normal. But that is less common these days, right? Socially, different. Like it's fine. There's plenty of people who are waiting, but the average person, you go out to the bar, people are actively engaging in sexual relations on some level, like in a committed relationship. So for you, like, you start dating a guy and just take things slow. And then eventually you might have conversations and be like, listen, first, second base, I don't know, whatever you want to do, but like upfront expectations in dating are always important, especially when you start getting physical. Letting each other know like what is off limits and what is an option, depending on how the relationship progresses. And you're just looking to be in a committed relationship.
Yeah, and I guess I find that like the guys I have met, the conversation like sometimes like it goes to like, oh, when was the last time you had sex? And then it's kind of awkward, and I'm just like, I don't want to.
Guys are asking you that?
Yeah, I've been asked that. Like, oh, when was the last time? On a first date? Like before you even meet, even like just talking on whatever you like start to, it's.
If a guy that you've never met.
Yeah.
Or on a first date asks you when the last time you had sex is, he's, at best case scenario, too immature to be someone you consider a boyfriend.
Yeah. Like, I guess so. Yeah.
And like, if you happen to be in a conversation that is about sex, right? And this is a mutually, this is a topic that you are in, you know what I'm saying? There might be situations where, but in a dating situation, we're like on a dating app, he's like, so when's the last time you fucked? Or when was the last time you had sex? Like, that guy's a child.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird question. It's an inappropriate question. Like, I've literally never asked that question to a woman in my life. When was the last time you've had sex?
Invasive.
No, it's totally invasive. Fuck them. I don't think I've ever asked that question to anyone, ever. When was the last time you had sex?
Well, it really... Yeah, it's like none of their business, but it just puts me like in an awkward position, and then just So I kind of just want to see from a guy's perspective, like if that is something you would want to know, or if it's something it's just like whatever.
I mean, as I've gotten older, I care less and less about that stuff.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think even when I started dating someone, I was like, so when was the last time you slept with someone? Eventually you might have the past relationship discussion, and you always just assume, well, if you dated someone, you probably had sex with them, and but I think if guys are trying to like that's just a sign that's clearly what that guy's telling you is, I just want to have sex. How much work do I have to put into this before we'll have sex?
Well, that's good to know. I think I needed to hear that.
So if a guy asks that question and you only talked in a dating app or it's a first date, feel free to just not respond and end that interaction immediately. Like, it's not even worth your time trying to explain to him. I mean, if you want to like be like, if you want to go out of your way and say, hey, for future women, like, that's just highly inappropriate, he's going to get defensive. Like, that's not your job or your responsibility. No. If you want to, great. But like, for your sake, I think you can just move on and try to find someone who's more mature and not asking questions like that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then in the future, if you meet a guy and you start dating, and just set upfront expectations about what's on the table physically, hey, listen, I'm like, I just want to get to know someone. I want to be in a relationship. I want to define the relationship to some degree. And, you're going to, like everyone else in that space, you're going to deal with, the guys who are like, the fuck boys or the players, so to speak, and the guys who even like, and you're going to get disappointed. You're going to end up sleeping with a guy at some point, and he's going to be like, hey, this isn't working out for me. And that's okay, right? Because your intentions were to meet someone and wait to be intimate until you felt some sort of connection.
Yeah.
And that you might be dating someone for a month and you feel okay sleeping with them at that point, and that's fine. And then it doesn't work out. That's okay. That's normal, and that happens, and there's ups and downs of dating. Your you're learning from your experience of, for whatever reason in your youth, you were like, I'm 18, I can drink now. Also, like, I guess I should just start fucking, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna get drunk, and I guess this is what I should do to get guys to like me. I don't know, like you, and you realize that's not what you needed to do, and it's not healthy. This is a far more healthier approach, and I don't think you need to label yourself as anything other than just a normal young woman out there trying to find a guy who's worth her time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That I needed to hear that. I guess just validation that I like those guys aren't the good guys.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm not saying they're bad guys, but they're definitely immature, and they definitely have some growing up to do, and they definitely only are really interested in having sex.
Yeah, maybe not the ones I want to be with.
Correct. They're not, and they're not in a situation. They're not looking for a committed relationship.
No.
At all.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Good to know.
All right.
Okay.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How's it going?
I'm Hope, and I'm 32.
Hi, Hope. How can I help?
So I guess my story starts from my previous marriage that I left. It was very toxic for about 10 years. And he was emotionally abusive and verbally abusive in front of my daughter all the time. And it just got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore. Our sexual relationship was gone. We had like no sex for 4 years. And it just hurt a lot to be in that relationship. So I finally left. And for the past, it's May of 2019 is when I finally left. So it's been like almost 2 years now. Okay. And it took me like a year to finally start to like date again and like feel like I could get to that next step of doing that. During that time, my dad did pass away like 3 months after I left my ex. So there was just a lot going on. Yeah. And then I just put a lot of effort into myself by like losing weight and just getting fit for myself and feeling better about myself. So I feel like physically I'm better now, but mentally I'm still like having a hard time moving on from that previous relationship.
What do you feel like you're struggling with the most? Have you seen any therapy? Have you done therapy from it? For it?
Yeah. And I like the past, like we tried doing therapy, and like the therapist, like I talked to him afterward and I was like, he doesn't want to do therapy anymore. And he's like, I'm pretty sure he's a narcissist.
No, I mean like since you left your husband.
Yeah.
Have you done therapy just for you?
I have. Yeah. Okay. So I've done therapy because of the narcissistic tendencies that happen in a relationship. And I'm like, I've had a lot of issues from that, but yes, I have done therapy since then to try and like help myself. And I feel like it's helping, but then I just revert back.
And what do you mean?
I don't know. I constantly remind myself, like in like the current relationships that I have, like, okay, you need to stop thinking about the previous relationship and you need to move forward. Like not everybody's this guy that you're with for 10 years. But then I revert back and I start thinking that all these guys that I would talk to are going to treat me the same, you know?
Okay.
So that's where my issue is right now, is that I started dating. I went on the dating apps in like August of last year. I went out with like a few guys, and I started up with like a friends with benefits thing because I just didn't really want a relationship at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
And we did that for like a few months, and then I caught feelings. Obviously that just always happens at some point. And then, but I cut it off. I was just like, I know that this isn't what you want past this, and I don't really want to like mess with myself, so I cut that off.
How did that make you feel? Like, was it empowering
like
at all? Oh, like shit? Why?
Well, it was empowering because I knew that I needed to cut it off for myself.
Sure.
But but then he didn't, it wasn't like, oh, well, I want something with you. It was, okay, well,
Well, that's just your ego being like,
that is my ego.
Like you're trying to trick him. Because what you did was you felt, you sensed where it was going. You you were married to a guy for a decade who you did all this toxic shit, right? And it did it for a long time. And it sounds like in that relationship, you know, you let it happen. And I'm not trying to blame you, but like,
no,
it sounds like you knew it for a while and tried to, you know, for a lot of reasons why. He was your husband, you had a family, you had a daughter. Like, there's a lot of reasons why people try to like salvage something because, you know, you're married, you know, you planned it being the rest of your life. And so now you're dating someone and you sensed where it wasn't going and you did something about it much sooner than you might have in the past when you were younger. And I think that's something to feel proud about, you know, in terms of, and you know, granted, again, your ego wanted him to be like, oh my God, no, Hope, oh my God, I can't live without you, you know, like that would have been great. Don't get me wrong.
I mean,
that'd been awesome. But I think you need to try to find these kind of nice moments to really pat yourself on the back and be like, you know what, a different me would have done something different. And I would have been in this kind of, you know, hookup situation that wasn't necessarily toxic in the beginning, and it could have become toxic because I wouldn't have listened to my gut and I wouldn't have listened to what I needed, and I would have listened to my ego and I would have kept staying in it and hoped that it would turn around, but you didn't do that. And I think that's really important. That's progress. That's you know.
No, I mean, you've actually been a huge help, even though like just listening to like your podcast and, you know, the Ask Nick, and it's that I probably would have done that.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. It's like, so now you are in this you're single, right? And so out and and dating is hard and it's scary and you're like, you have this, and it sounds like basically what you're saying is your overall fear is like you have some trust issues with men in general because of what this man did to you, right?
Yeah.
And I think you can look at what you did in your last relationship is kind of like a feather in your cap of a token. It's like, you know what? I don't have to trust them as much as I have to trust myself. And I can trust myself because I knew that this wasn't good for me. And as much as I wanted something different, I was able to say goodbye to it. And I put it out there. He didn't give me what I wanted that would make me want to continue dating him. And so I left. And that's great, right? Because you have to trust yourself first. You have to be able to know what you want. You have to be able to listen to your gut because we often don't. And it's by not listening to our gut that we get ourselves in these vulnerable situations, you know, like, you know, it's like, you know, we've other episodes we talked about, you know, certain things where you're just like, sometimes we get conned, right? We get conned out of money or our time or whatever. And we feel used and abused and vulnerable. And it's just like, and then the next opportunity you have to like say invest in something, you're like, well, what if this person's lying to me, right?
Yeah.
So you just get better again reading those red flags, and I think that's just really important for you to focus on because you know you don't want to get to a point where you're not dating because you can't trust anyone, and so I think you should feel really good that you did that because dating is going to, like you said, it's going to be hard. You're going to go on dates and you will have moments you're going to be disappointed sometimes. And not because they're your toxic narcissistic ex-husband, but just because you might like somebody who doesn't like you back and vice versa, you know? And that's just a bummer and disappointing. And you're going to be sad sometimes. And then maybe in a different situation, you're going to have to be like, hey, you're really nice, but I don't like you. You know, and you're going to make him cry, right? So, and
that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Because since the Friends with Benefits in like December, I started talking to a guy on Tinder, and we've been hanging out since then. And we're like dating. We're not exclusive yet. I mean, he said something like, "Well, I'm not dating anybody," but I haven't responded and said like, "Well, I'm not." You know, I just kind of, I don't know. The conversation just moves on from there, and I haven't really like given him that exclusivity yet. And it's partly like, he's a super nice guy, very sweet, caring, like the total, you know, the guy that you would want, but our sexual chemistry is just kind of just not there. And I don't know. And I'm afraid of that because of my last relationship, not having sex for 4 years. I mean, we literally like had no sexual chemistry, like nothing at the end. Like it was just two roommates and that's it. And I'm terrified that if in the beginning we're not there together, are we going to ever have that?
Well, I don't know. Again, like
I mean, we can't tell the future. Yeah, but
and I'm not a psychologist or a therapist.
Yeah.
So disclaimer there, but
Yes.
from what you're telling me, did you ever have your ex-husband when you first met him? How was the sexual chemistry?
I mean, it was good in the beginning.
Yeah.
And for like 6 months.
And then it stopped because he just was mean, right? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah,
super
I mean, like,
I've had girlfriends where like, oh my God, so hot. And then they were just fucking mean to me. And I had to be like, they're like, why don't you ever want to have sex anymore? I'm like, you constantly yell at me and belittle me and emasculate me. It's just like, I fucking hate you. You know, like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't care what you look like naked. You're fucking mean, you know?
Yeah.
And so like that, so I guess what I'm saying is you try to separate this past relationship that you got out of.
Yeah. I just need to separate it.
Is not a precursor, or it's not going to predict everything in these future relationships. That being said, like, if you're just not into this guy physically, then
I mean, physically, like, he's beautiful. I mean, like, he's like very healthy, like he's fit. Like,
so where do you think the lack of sexual chemistry comes from?
Well, so his previous relationship, he's talked about like not like kind of in the same situation. Like his ex was not very good to him, and they didn't have sex very much, and I think he's a little bit insecure in that way.
Okay.
So I understand that totally, you know,
But you are physically attracted to him?
Yeah, like he's.
Have you guys hooked up yet? Have you had sex?
Yeah, so we've had sex 4 times now. I mean, we don't really have a lot of time because he can't get down here during the week. He lives kind of like a little bit like 45 minutes away. And on the weekends I have my daughter usually. So the weeks that I don't, we can.
So when you say a lack of physical chemistry, do you feel like what I'm hearing is you just think like together you guys, it's just not hot and spicy. You're not necessarily even blaming him. It's just like you're not feeling connected.
Yeah.
You're not like you're bad at sex. It's just like, are you curious about what he thinks of your sexual chemistry? Like, are you unaware?
No, I actually think I'm more confident in bed than I am outside of bed. I'm a very sexual person. And
what do you feel like you're missing out of this relationship then?
Well, I've told him in the beginning, like when we were talking, like, you know, we have the conversations like, what do you like in bed kind of thing. And I told him I like guys that take the lead and, you know, are in control. And I like, you know, slapping, spanking and stuff like that. And I've told him, and he was like, okay, yeah, I could totally do that for you. And I was like, okay, cool. Fast forward to actually having sex. No.
Okay.
I've never made him feel like I just go with it, whatever, you know. And the last time we did, like before that, I was like, it kind of got brought up again, and we had sex, and he kind of tried to do it. It just didn't seem like it was there. Like he just seems like just a super nice dude that he just can't be that person, you know. I don't know if I don't want to change him. If that's like a weird, like if you do change someone to be what you want in bed, I don't know.
How old is he?
He's 33.
Okay. I think as far as this relationship goes, you have to decide whether you want to have an awkward conversation with him, if it's worth it to you, if everything else is what you're looking for in a potential relationship, and you're missing this one thing, and are you willing to have a potentially awkward conversation to see if that thing can improve? You know, like you've just started dating this guy. It's relatively early.
Yeah.
If that got better, would this be a potential great guy for you? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
he would.
Again, I kind of mentioned this before. There's nothing wrong with, like, you can't promise you're not going to hurt him. You can. All you can be is.
I don't want to hurt him. Yeah.
Yeah. All you can do is be honest, and you can just let him know where you stand. But like, I just feel like we're not connecting. You know, if he gets super defensive and maybe he's just like, listen, this is not who I am. Don't let him make you feel like what you want is totally normal and healthy. A little spanking and a little, like, fine. It all sounds safe. People like that. So like, sometimes if you say this to a guy, some guys can all of a sudden, the nice guy can get real defensive and then maybe mean. And all I'm saying is someone who's dealt with this in the past, don't let this guy, and I'm not saying he would, don't let him make you feel bad for knowing what you like in bed.
Yeah.
Right. So just know that it sounds like everything you like is totally normal and healthy. So, that sometimes these uncomfortable situations get, especially guys, defensive. Be like, well, I mean, it's, you're not weird for liking those things.
Well, yeah. And then on top of it, we've had sex 4 times. He has like 2 of the times he didn't actually come. And I know like there's just things that happen. And, he told me, he's like, I just feel like there's just so much pressure sometimes. I just can't do it. Like, it just takes me too long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're
He's
good.
clearly in his head about sex, I don't know, maybe his ex-wife fucked him up or ex-girlfriend. That's possible.
No, it sounded bad. I don't know the whole situation, but I mean, I guess that's, how do I make him more comfortable? Like, how do I get him out of his head?
Couple options, right? I mean, I think in dating situations, I've done this, like I do therapy, and the people I date, I don't hide that from them, because I think, us working on ourselves is, it's like dating someone who's like really into fitness. Like sometimes it helps motivate your person to like want to like take care of their physical health, right? Because you're dating someone who's really big on that, right? So same way of like mental health and emotional health. It's just like, hey, I'm working on me. My ex fucked me up. That's okay. I'm still working on me. Have you ever thought, like, does he do therapy? Like, you know what I'm saying? So just, is this someone you want to get to know while they continue to work on themselves? Because he's not a finished product, either are you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But what you don't want is to be working on yourself while he's like just hoping his shit just goes away. It probably won't, right? And so you have to, figure out whether he's capable of working on his shit, because you can maybe only do so much or be so patient. So like actively talk how like you're working on yourself might make him feel more comfortable seeking out therapy and working on his issues. Because like in the short term, right, like you complaining and voicing your frustration with your sex life, if this is a guy who's already in his head about sex, it's not going to help,
No, and I would never, like, he just told me, like, I'm not going to come, like, it's going to take me a long time, and, like, I was just like, okay, we're good, like, I didn't make it awkward. I would never make anybody feel like that, like, and I just told him, it'll, eventually we'll have more time alone, and we'll get better, I don't really know what else to say about it, because I don't want to make him feel insecure,
It's all you can do. But there is a certain level of, like, if you're into something, your partner hopefully is into it too, to a certain degree.
Well, and I think because of the friends with benefits that I had, the sex was just bomb, like it was something I wish I could take these 2 dudes and put them together and I could have like that, but I know I can't.
Yeah, that's called dating, and that just means you probably should keep looking, to be honest.
I know, and I think that's what I'm like sad about, is like he's a really good guy, and I could see myself with him in the future. But there's just some doubt in there, and I don't know. I just feel like I'm being, I don't know, I guess selfish by not liking him.
You deserve to be selfish.
I know.
And when it comes to your dating life early on, it's okay to be selfish. You probably aren't used to being selfish in your past relationship. But that same trust that you had to say goodbye to the great sex fuck boy who did, or not fuck boy, but like the fuck buddy who didn't want to date you, you have to trust your gut on this one too, because this could get messy if the roles are reversed, right? And this means, like maybe you have to walk away from a nice guy who's also not giving you something, because, you want a guy who gives you affection and consideration and love outside of a physical aspect, but you also want that too. They're both a priority. Hopefully you don't have to sacrifice them. And these are just 2 guys in a sea of literally millions of guys, right? So do what you did with the last guy, because the last guy, you put it out there. You're like, hey, listen, this is what I want. You don't want to give it to me, so I'm going to walk away. He didn't come back. That was sad, but you moved on. So if you think, so like sit down with this guy, and at the risk of hurting his feelings, just say, hey, this is where I'm at. And it's more like, and it's okay if you're not into that, but this is what I want. And that's fine. And don't make him feel judged. But like, I have my preferences, you have yours. What if we're just not connected? I don't want to have sex with, me personally. It's like, if I was into something and they were like, I do this for you. I don't, like, I mean thanks, like, I guess, but like, I want, I want you to enjoy it. Like, if you don't enjoy it, like, that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to get like too graphic, but he spanked me once, and it was like the smallest. I was just like, okay, we're good.
I think just sit down with them and try to talk with them about something where, like, just, I think it's worth an awkward conversation without throwing stones and without emasculating him.
Exactly, yeah.
And see if he is into this stuff, or maybe we're just, we're two people who think each other's are great. Maybe we're just not each other's person. And then you keep going out there and you try to find that person who gives you both, because you deserve to have both. And it's hard, and that's why dating is hard, because you don't want to be an asshole to this guy, and he is nice, but just because he's a nice person doesn't mean he's your guy.
Exactly.
And you don't need to be burdened with like having to like cater every nice guy out there who, can't, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, he'll be fine.
It's just, I know I'll be fine. I guess it's just the navigating dating world after 10 years of not being in it, and then trying to deal with my own issues, and then trying to like be selfish when I'm not.
Well, the good news for you is even people who haven't been in marriages for 10 years with toxic people still deal with this problem. Like, it's just called dating. So don't, and continue to work on yourself, and continue to focus on your emotional and mental health. It's okay to admit that you're not there yet. And you can still date while you're working on it, right? But don't be afraid to be selfish. Yeah. I think it's a good time. It's definitely, this is the time to be selfish. Be selfish now, so it's easier to be selfless in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
Because,
and I'm not stuck in something I don't want.
Exactly. Like, it's like, oh, I want to be super selfless, and like, I'll say yes to things I don't want to do, and I'll say yes to a guy I don't want to be with just because I don't want to be mean. And then you're like in a committed relationship that you don't want to be in. And then feelings are really hurt. It'll hurt less for this guy now than it will 5 years from now or 2 years from now.
Yeah. Well, at that point, it's just terrible.
just try to communicate, give it that last ditch effort with this guy, and see if it's worth you guys trying. But my gut tells me, is this not your guy? And just have one more conversation to see what he has to say. But you might have to leave this guy too, unfortunately. That's okay. Yeah. You're getting good at it. Yeah. And every time, and I think every time that you trust your gut and you protect yourself, to not be afraid to give yourself a pat on the back, because that's really hard to do. And we often don't do it. And instead of feeling, you shouldn't feel guilty. You should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you.
All right. So
thank you.
I don't know if I want any clear answers, but I guess all I want to say is
I guess
doing
it was
great.
just
You're
like
doing
more
fine.
advice.
Yeah. It's messy.
Yeah.
But yeah. And just keep working on yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Best of luck.
I appreciate you.
All right. You too.
Have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
How's it going?
So good. How are you?
I'm so good. What's your name?
My name is Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin. How old are you?
I am 31.
Awesome. How can I help?
I live in Orange County. I moved back about almost 2 years now.
From where?
I grew up here, and I moved away to New York, lived there for a decade, came back. And so I haven't been like an adult, really. I haven't been 21 in Orange County, let alone like dated in Orange County. But I'm seeing a bunch of people on like my dating apps that I like went to high school with, I grew up with, went to church with.
So when you say you're seeing, you mean like you've just noticed them. You're not dating. You know, like some people refer to seeing. You know, you're just like seeing them out. You're interacting with them.
No, I am noticing that they have a Bumble profile as well.
Gotcha. You're like, oh, I went to high school with that person. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
All right.
And so I guess my question revolves around noticing somebody that I went to high school with, or that I knew from growing up in Orange County, or that I knew, you know, I came back and like took a cycling class from this one instructor, came back, you know, 7 years later, saw him on Hinge. Like, it's what's the protocol with like, hey, we actually know each other, but I saw you on a dating app. Like, can I reach out to them beyond the dating app?
What do you mean? So like you matched with this guy on Bumble, or you saw his profile?
I saw his profile. We have not matched because of the algorithm. It like,
sure. Did you swipe right? Or how,
I did.
Okay. And then you haven't. Okay. So you swiped right. Up until this point, you haven't matched, but you recognized said person. It was like, oh, I knew that guy from a decade ago or whatever.
Right.
And you're wondering if it's weird to sliding his DMs, basically.
Yeah.
Well, is it weird? No. I mean, it's fine. Here's what I wouldn't do, and what sometimes people do, is I wouldn't say, hey, I saw you on Bumble, figured I'd also DM you here.
Right. Okay.
Like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to like, you know, because he might have seen your profile, and he might have swiped left, right? He might have been like, nah, and he might not have, for whatever reason, right? Like, it's a dating app. I don't know how you are. I feel like more guys than I think, kind of like in life, I think women pay attention to more finer details even on dating apps, where they might look at the profile, look at all the pictures, look at what he said in his bio, where guys are just like, you know, and everyone's different. I'm sure some guys do that and some women don't, but on average, I think most guys are just like swipe, 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 swipe. They're not even, they're half paying attention. They could easily swipe left on someone that they might have liked or not. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's probably a little less thought that goes into it. So go ahead and DM the guy. Like, you probably won't know. I mean, the chances are of him being like, oh, like, I saw you on Bumble, and by the way, I swiped left, so don't ever DM me. Like, that's never going to happen. You know, you'll never know the difference. I don't think you should point out, hey, I've been watching you from this dating app, just wondering why you haven't swiped right yet. And, but if you want to, your hope, so anything in the back of your mind, your hope is just like, well, I want to go out with him, and like, I swiped right and I haven't matched with him yet. So like, what if the algorithm is fucking me? And is it weird if I just DM him?
Yeah. And if I've learned anything from this podcast, is that if a guy is interested, he will reach out, right? Like, yeah,
sure.
Right.
Generally.
So a part of me just has like that voice in the back of my mind. Like, if he saw my profile and he wasn't interested, like, great. You know, the algorithm has to work in some aspect.
Sure, it does. To answer your question, have I seen someone on a dating app, not match with them, DM them, only to then go out with them and have a really great time? Yes, I've done that. It's worked.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I never was like, hey, did you notice me on, like, why didn't we, like, and to your point, they didn't. I didn't show up on their algorithm, so to speak, or whatever. So other times I've had plenty of people DM me and be like, I saw you on this dating app, thought I'd say hi. And I'm like, nah, like, I'm good.
And did you ever like respond to their DM? Like,
no.
oh, so sorry.
No. No. 100% of the time, no.
Okay.
But you don't know that, right? And I also don't remember it. I wasn't like, zero times was I like, oh yeah, I remember not liking you. Like, that never happened. I just was like, no, I'm good, right? I just wasn't interested for whatever reason. So,
and then hopefully you just cross your fingers that you never run into each other. Like, we never go to the same class at the gym, right? Like,
I mean, if you do, you'll live, right?
That's so true, right?
Yeah, like if you decide to DM him and he still doesn't reply, then that's gonna sting a little bit, because then you're like, well, then I don't know if I can blame the algorithm, because he's also not responding to my DM, and there's a good chance he saw that.
Right.
And then if you run into him at the grocery store, you're just like, oh fuck, like,
right.
But you never know. At that point, I wouldn't be awkward, and I wouldn't get in your head and be like, you know what? He probably didn't see my DM, and he probably didn't see me on Bumble. Now I'm gonna go say hi. Yeah, I mean, good for you if you can do that, but like your ego might, be a little vulnerable in that moment. So, But listen, you're just shooter, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think there's an overshare that often happens where people are like, hey, I matched with you. So like, it's like they're almost like qualifying why they're DMing. It's like, hey, I'm not weird for DMing you because some techie person said that I should like you because you showed up in my dating profile. So like, you probably, like people have a way of like trying to justify, just you DM'd him. So what? You're allowed.
Yes. And yeah. And, hopefully one of these times will stick.
Is there someone you're like particularly crushing on, or is this like a multiple people that you're interested in?
No, I feel like there's one guy I went to high school with. We go to the same gym, so I see him all the time.
Yeah. And he showed up on your Bumble.
Yes. And so I'm like hesitant because I know that I see him at 6:30 every morning, Oh,
that's a risk, yeah.
And then there's another guy that really just two that like I know we're like friends on Facebook and like Facebook that.
So wait, hold on. The guy you see at the gym on a regular, right? Yeah. You guys have met before in the past?
We went to high school together.
You did.
We were
have you spoken with this guy at the gym?
Since I moved back from New York?
Yeah.
At the gym, like we were like, oh gosh, this has been longer than a minute. That's all.
So
like,
you acknowledge that you guys went to high school.
Yeah, we went to high school, and I mean, like 10 years is a long time, right? So
yeah,
like,
totally. Yeah.
We like bonded in this like one rotation of a circuit, and then I know his name. I like follow him on Instagram. Like, I don't know, and I'm like I'm timid and tempted to be like, hey, are you still single? Like,
yeah, no, like, I get it. I get it. But I do think because you have, like, he's not a total stranger to you.
No.
So it's kind of weird to DM him knowing that you see him on a regular basis and there is some sort of mutual connection, and that is you went to high school together and you guys know who each other is. Right. Have you tried to find ways to just talk to him?
No. Another piece of that story is that he like brought some other girl to the gym. This was like a 2-week. She was there for 2 weeks, and now she's no longer coming to the gym. So
just find ways to talk to him.
Right.
Like don't include immediately, hey, do you want to grab a cup of coffee?
Oh, yeah.
Just do some recon. Just, hey, remember Mr. like the science teacher? What a weird fucking guy. I don't know what you want to bond over, but like there is some sort of mutual connection. Hey, do you ever talk to so-and-so? Do you remember like that weird guy who went to like, I don't know. Like if I ran into someone who I went to high school with, right? It's such a fun time to like reflect on like, hey, whatever happened to so-and-so? Is there someone in high school that you're kind of wondering like where they are? And then you knew like there's a bunch of ways you can talk to this person.
Right.
And see if you can strike up like a rapport, and if this guy's just like kind of dismissive to you, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know, like whatever, I'm on it. And then they kind of like keep lifting and they almost like sound like they treat you kind of like they're just going to answer your questions. Yeah. And they're not that interested.
No. But do you think that the opposite would have already happened if there was interest on the other side?
Maybe. You know. Yeah.
But maybe
just because like there's a difference between like if a guy's interested, he'll reach out, and him not like being obsessed with you when you walked through the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like he you know, he doesn't know you. You know, maybe there's a connection that you would be able to build, but like.
Right.
There is a balance between putting yourself out there and letting a guy hit on you. Like if he didn't hit on you, like he could be a little nervous. He might not have noticed you, but there's people I haven't noticed that then I got to know, and I was like, oh, you're really great. You know, I don't know what, like maybe he's not your person, but maybe he's a friend. I don't know. Maybe you're also just new to, you moved back home. So I think meeting people and like growing your circle should be more of a focus than actual dating. And then I think the more people you meet, they'll introduce you to other people, and you know that'll might help you meet someone.
Very true.
So I think maybe just think of it less from a dating standpoint, and just be open to reconnecting with people and just communicating, and take the pressure of dating out of the picture, and just seeing, you know, reconnect with people, and then they might introduce you to other people. I wouldn't overthink like, oh, well, if he hasn't talked to me, I shouldn't talk to him, because, you know, like there's a lot of information you don't know. So just yes. Talk to him.
Oh gosh. Okay.
and again, like that doesn't mean like, don't awkwardly walk up to him while he's like lifting weights and be like, oh, like how much are you like benching? Also, you want to grab coffee? Like, don't do that.
No.
Right.
No, and it's like more of like a class situation. Yeah. So like we're like in like, you know, there's a bunch of us outside and we're, you know, doing all the things. But I definitely can think of some things to say that probably won't be awkward. That
try not to don't flirt with them. You know, just.
I don't think that I'm not capable of flirting at 6:30 in the morning. It's too early.
Yeah, like whatever happened to you? Still talk to people? You know. I haven't been around, like, show me the ropes.
Right.
You know?
I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, there are things for sure that I can find.
Like, maybe, like, try to friend zone him. See what he, you know. See what he does, you know. If he's down to being your friend, then he just wants to be friend. If he, you know, if a girl's trying to friend zone a guy and he's interested in her sexually, then that'll bug him.
Very true. And I'm just curious about what happened to this girl that he was bringing to the gym for so long.
Probably.
I mean, would that be an inappropriate question? Like, hey,
I wouldn't do that.
Girl?
Hey, did you murder her? I don't, you know. No, I don't know. Who knows? Do you have any idea who she is? Could it be a cousin? Could it be a friend in town? Do you have any idea?
They were not related. They definitely were dating.
It was a romantic situation, yeah.
But and then I don't know. Then I get intimidated because she was, you know, stunning, like supermodel looking, and I'm like, oh, okay, if that's what he's into, then maybe this is not my person to go after.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But
I think you should be in the friend making business right now.
Yes. I mean, it is. And that is hard. Being, I don't know. I think you talk a lot about age and 31. I'm like, I have enough friends. I have friends in New York. I have, you know,
friends here in town?
I have my best friends out here. There's a select group of people that are out here that I love, but most of my people that are out here are married with multiple kids.
That's what I'm saying. So like this idea that you have a ton of friends, while true, like you kind of need a new social group.
True.
So that's why I think you should focus as much on making friends, which is equally and sometimes harder in the adult life, because people seem to be more closed off. Like it's like, why do you want to be friends? I don't know. Like people are a little more guarded with friends. So I think if you focus on that will open up the door to meeting a bunch of people, and then maybe it could lead to something romantically.
Yes. That's exciting to me. So
yeah.
Sure.
take the pressure off of wondering what he's into, and just get to know someone you went to high school with, and don't worry about it romantically.
Right. And that sometimes is the hardest, right? Because that's like your goal, your end goal, right? But yeah, I will definitely.
But guys do have physical types. I mean, there is that.
Yeah. Yes. And I have been in relationships where they we date and then we break up and then I turn around and I'm like, oh, that was really your type. This makes so much sense. But I also have a type. So it's like we can play both sides of that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you should, really be in the friend making business right now and use the fact that you guys went to high school together as a way to just try to talk to them. You have that connection. You have another connection if you guys are going to the same workout class and you're looking to meet new people, Yeah,
absolutely.
See where it goes. That's a very non-threatening way to introduce kind of yourself in a sense to someone. And then he doesn't have to worry about is she trying to hit on me because maybe he does have a girlfriend. I don't know. Yeah, maybe she just got a job and she didn't have a job before and now she's just too busy, or now she's like, you know what, I was trying to impress you, but I don't wake up at 6:30, so I'm not coming anymore. So yeah, that way you can find out a lot of information without feeling like you're being a threat or you're trying to have sex with him and have him kind of be like, I'm not into this, or who knows.
Right. That is great advice. Yeah, I think that really answers my question.
Great. Well, best of luck.
Well, thanks, Nick.
Yeah, keep making friends.
I definitely will.
Yeah, those lifelong friends that now have babies, and they're great to have, but
right. And we'll cross. I'm being set up for the first time, so a lifelong friend is actually playing dating app for me. So we'll see how that goes on tomorrow.
Good luck. Probably won't go great, but that's fine. You should still go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So positive.
No, I think
Go get him.
Lower your expectations. You'll have a great time. But setups are projections of what your friends kind of want sometimes, and not what you want. But you might have a great time.
Yeah.
I think people should have low expectations on any date they go on. That way they'll be like, oh, yeah.
Well, and if anything, he's going to be a friend, right? He's in our same friend group.
There you go. I think that's the way to start it.
Making friends.
All right. Making friends. All right. Good luck.
Good. Thanks, Nick.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow. That was wild. Thanks so much, guys, for listening, for the callers for calling in. We need your questions because without your interesting stories, we won't have this show. So send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com, cast with a K. I promise you will love the answers you get from me. You're going to be nervous coming in. You're not sure if you could share your story. You can be anonymous, and you will feel better for it afterwards. We're batting 1,000. We have 100%. We've never had someone regret coming on. And we often have people be nervous before they come on, but we promise you will love it. So send those questions. We need it. We appreciate it. And until Wednesday, when we talk about cults, have a great Tuesday. Don't join a cult in the meantime.